Now, after Nio reported record-breaking deliveries for the month of July, and that is the deliveries of over 20,400, one of the questions that has been on Nio's investors' minds is how many cars can Nio produce per day, or how many cars is Nio currently producing per day on their two factories. As you know that Nio currently is producing their cars from their two factories, and the first factory is of course the Jack Nio factory, which is the oldest factory that Nio produce most of their NT 1.0 cars, and of course the new factory which is called the Neo Park, which obviously that is where cars like the ET5 were being produced, which is something that of course it was amazing. Now, as I've said, the question, or one of the questions, ladies and gents, that has been on investors or new investors' minds is how many cars is Nio producing per day. Now, today we got a report which sort of like guided a bit on the kind of production or on the kind of capacity that Nio is seeing on a certain important model, and that is the ES6 model. So this is an important report because it gives us the kind of vehicles that Nio is able to produce of that important model, and that is the ES6. So please watch this video until the end, because this video is very interesting and encouraging to those that have been asking questions about the production capacity coming out from the two factories of Nio. Though it doesn't address exactly how much Nio is producing in total, the kind of production onto their two factories, but it does give us a hint, or one of the most important probably figure that we would want to know on the model, and that is the production of the ES6, as the ES6 is now the best-selling car for Nio, or coming out of Nio, because you know that for the month of July, ES6 sold over 11,000 cars, which is quite important, or for the fact that we got at least the report of how much is being produced of this model. It makes us to be really excited, or it makes retail investors to be excited, because this is one of the most important model that Nio is currently selling at the moment. So as seen on the screen, without wasting any more of your time, Nio is producing around 300 ES6 per day, and the most important part about this report is that it indicated or further highlighted that some workshops have increased, of course, from single shift into double shifts, meaning that they are not only producing cars during the day, but they are also producing cars during the night. So these are the good news, or most important news, that all the new investors have been patiently waiting for, because it tells us roughly that, let's say if we are to assume that Nio is producing or is manufacturing these cars from Monday to Saturday, or this vehicle from Monday to Saturday, it then means that if you are to multiply 300 by, of course, 6, multiply by 4 weeks, which is of course how many or the kind of weeks we have on a monthly basis, it then shows us that Nio is currently producing over 7,200 of the ES6, probably on a single shift, because they noted that some of the workshops have went into double shift, which sort of like makes sense as to why we saw Nio, of course, reporting over 11,000 vehicles for just the ES6 on the month, or on the July deliveries. So these 7,200 are quite good deliveries on a single shift, and I would like to believe that the fact that, like I said, we saw over 11,000, it means that Nio had already started, of course, producing this car on double shifts, right? And one of the good things that so many of the new investors, probably you just got an answer today coming from the very same report, is that apparently Nio F1 factory, or the Jack Nio factory, stopped production for 5 days in preparation of the production ramp up or upgrade, which is something that, of course, getting to see or knowing that Nio, regardless of the 5-day stoppages, they've been producing not so bad in NAV insurance registrations on a weekly basis, makes me to be really excited, because then this just means that chances now are even much higher that we'll see Nio thrashing the delivery record of over 20,400, which we saw, of course, for the month of July. This means that now in August we might actually see Nio delivering more than 21,000 vehicles for this month, because they've increased they've ramped up their production on the F1 factory, which is the factory that is playing a very important role in producing the Nio ES6, which is the best selling Nio model at the moment. So I'm very excited, or I was excited when I saw this, and I think these are important news, because, ladies and gents, it means that if Nio is able to produce 300 from this ES6 or of this ES6 maybe on a single shift, it means that on a double shift they can easily produce over 14,000 of this model alone, which makes me to be really excited. And obviously I would want Nio to, of course, all their workshop to upgrade their workshop to produce on double shifts, because then we'll know that delivery wise, then Nio will also deliver more cars, which will result in them generating even more revenues, which will excite, of course, investors like us to continue loading the boat onto Nio. Not to say that we are not excited about those over 20,000 deliveries we saw in July, but this kind of news makes us to be more happy or more excited about investing onto the Nio stock, because we know that there has been a production ramp up that took place between the 29th and the 2nd of August, which means that chances are very high that the production, of course, capacity of the Nio factories has now increased from where it was in July, which is something that, of course, it is mind-blowing and excites me as the Nio investor. At this, when I read this report, I was very excited, because right now chances are we are going to even see more of the ES6 or more numbers coming from the ES6 for the month of course, August, which makes me not to be able to wait for the NAV insurance registration report for tomorrow, and also the actually August deliveries, because chances now are becoming more and more higher that we'll see a new monthly record come Thursday, the 1st of September, when Nio report their August deliveries. So from this very same report, we read that the F1 factory, or the Jack Nio factory, is mainly producing the ES6 or the Nio ES6, which I think it's a bit strategic for Nio to do that, because this is a model that is doing really well for Nio. This is a model that Nio is seeing themselves selling in a lot of numbers, or orders coming in masses of numbers, which of course it makes sense for them to produce it more, or maybe to dedicate the F1 factory maybe primarily for this one model, because it is doing quite well. So it is for this reason that I believe that there will be more deliveries coming from this ES6 now in August, because they have shifted, or more, the F1 factory is making the ES6, whilst the ES8, which was previously made or being produced at this F1 factory, is now shifted to the F2 factory, which is something that, of course, it is incredible, and I'm very excited to get to see that. Of course, Nio is prioritizing the deliveries of this Nio ES6, because it is the car on Nio that has more demand, or many demand, or it's seeing many demand coming from consumers, which sort of like makes sense that since Nio is currently seeing more demand into this car, it makes sure that it produces as many as they can of this model, so that at least they can deliver it to their customers as soon as possible. So as the report sort of like hinted, the EC6, or the upcoming NT 2.0 EC6, might be produced at the F2 factory, which you will know that is a vehicle or a model which is expected to do very well, because, ladies and gents, it is a coupe SUV that is quite a beauty, and it sort of like looks the same, or will be looking the same as its elder brother EC7. And that model also, it is expected to do very well, because it will be cheaper than, of course, probably the EC7, ES8 and ES7, which will make it, or can make it, to sell like crazy if Nio is to price it well. So I'm very excited about all this news, and I just thought I'd just give you this quick update. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click the notification bell, so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, I'm very excited to get to see that on a single shift each and every day we are getting to see, of course, the ES6 rolling off the production line, which is something that, of course, that equates to 7,200 in a month on a single shift, which if they are to do double shifts, then they can get to over 14,000. So that kind, or this kind of news made me to be really excited, and I just thought I'd just share with you. If you think that this video was amazing, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because on this channel Nio is a stock that I discuss a lot, because I believe in their fundamentals and their future prospects, and I believe that they will, or in as much as we are seeing the share price of Nio might be dropping or plummeting, chances are in the near future we'll see it recovering, because delivery wise we know that Nio from here, we have improved the deliveries, which is why we saw the over 20,400 for the month of July. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.